Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls TV. I am your host, Mike B. And today we are doing a special episode. We are covering our recent visit, just the past weekend, to Tabletop Gaming Live in London, in the rather splendourous surroundings of Ali Pali. So yes, this is the second Tabletop Gaming Live event. We had one last year. We didn't attend that. However, they offered us press passes and said, do you want to come along? I had the weekend off, so what the heck, let's go down, I said, and let's have a jolly good look at what's going on there. So, let's do that. Okay, so Tabletop Gaming Live. It's second year, as we've said. First year had a lot of mixed responses. I never went, but the general consensus coming back from that, from most people, was that it was a bit quiet, especially from a lot of trade and retailers. Very quiet, and maybe at the feeling of not being terribly well organised. Well, not even that. I may cast aspersions there. What it felt like was that they built it and expected them to come, and not many did, so there was kind of this last minute gasp to bring more people in. This year at least felt there wasn't that sort of feeling to it. I mean, it was there, they were proudly getting their show up and running. I'll be honest with you, I was aware of it, I knew it was coming. I don't read the magazine very often. But yeah, there wasn't very much press advertising. I mean, I'm sure their own readership they've been focusing on, which is great. They're getting obviously fair good bit of footfall from that. But the wider scope, it didn't feel like it was being massively advertised. That may just be my opinion, but the feeling I got on the ground floor, as it were, was that was kind of the feeling for a few people. Is it isn't being pushed massively. However, that's all that is aside. So Ali Pali, really nice. Alexander Palace, lovely surroundings. I mean, it's gorgeous, a very nice area around there. It was free parking, which is great if you're driving up there. They do a shuttle bus service. The actual facilities on site, it's a nice big roomy area. It looks gorgeous. Toilets and that were around there. There was food on site, about as what you would expect for sort of central-ish London sort of prices. Some of it's sub £10 though. I mean, it wasn't bad. Not a vast array of choice there, but there was some stuff there. And so that was cool. Obviously just felt a lot quieter. We went on the Sunday and got there early, I think about 9 o'clock, when they're allowing us press types into Malinga, so we had a good chance of a scoop round of the whole site, and it's small. I mean, it's not a big, if you've been to UK Games Expo, it's kind of Hall B size of thing. It's quite well spread out, and as I say, the footfall was kind of quietish until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then there was a little bit more, but even so, at no point were we having to barge through crowds or shove people out the way and all that shenanigans. Which was refreshing. It's quite pleasant. It was just felt busy enough at this point. There was definitely a bustle to it, but not too much, which was nice because I was able to get around and talk to people. Because normally the expo, you go there and the chances of actually getting to exhibitor stands and speaking to them, unless you've made meetings, if you just on the off chance see something you like out the corner of your eye and go think, oh, I want to look at that. Often that isn't as easy as you'd think. So that was kind of cool, being able to get around and look and talk to people. So there we go, I've rambled about all of that. So what we saw, what did we play? Anything that was very exciting? That's kind of go through. So we rummaged around. Obviously the most exciting thing I found and picked up while I was at the show, which was the Jaws board game from Ravensburger. I am an unapologetic, complete and utter Jaws nerd. I love Jaws, the movie. It's my favourite movie in the entire ever movie thing. So this, as soon as this appeared on the horizon, and more importantly that it was getting good reviews, was instantly kind of, I needed to grab this. So we popped along to Ravensburger. They only had a few copies left of this. Nabbed myself one of those. Very happy about that. Skin the rules. It looks good. I like the production design. I know it's got some flack for maybe having cheap components, but generally for the price it is, which is sub £30. I think I've seen it pre-orders for £20 on the thing. there's a good, decent game in there, and some quite nice components. I can't knock it. Not played it yet, but yes, Jaws, brilliant. Just glad to have had that. I was going to have it, even probably if it was a dire game, I probably would have ended up with it. But there we go. So that was there, and that was kind of like an UK exclusive sort of launch there. It's not available yet, I don't think, until November. I think it's a street date for that, but we may see it eke out before there. Ravensburger had some other stuff there, so they had the Villainous expansions. Not played Villainous yet, so maybe at some point we get hands on that and have a play with that. And some of their word games and some of their more less hobby related stuff. But yes, that was cool. That was there. Had a nice chat with them, and we picked up Jaws. So yes, so we played not Toluca, which is from, I don't know, Asmodee had it on their stand. I can't remember who the publisher was. It's a dicey game. So essentially you got a bunch of dice which are representing sea creatures, if I remember rightly. I don't know. They're on a board anyway. And the idea is you have so many pawns each. We were playing 2-player games, so we had, I think, 6 pawns each. You're putting a pawn down somewhere on the board, and you take a direction, orthogonally? I don't know. A direction. Straight line from where your pawn is. You pick one of them, you select a number, and you pick up every dice with the facing of that number. What you're essentially doing is collecting these dice. You'll have cards in front of you which represent these little jars. You're putting the dice into. The numbers at that point are not important, just the colours. Once you fill up a card, you score it, pick another card up, rinse, repeat. Goes over 2 rounds. That's kind of it. It's very light. It was okay. It didn't. I wasn't one. Was on my radar anyway, but I know Tony wanted to look at it. Yes, I was left resoundingly like, yeah, okay, not something that I personally would be rushing out to pick up. It was light and breezy. I'm sure there's some people will enjoy that. But that was that. Another one we had on my list that I really wanted to look at was Yay Games and Gruffalo, Deep Dark Wood. So this is a combined effort from Andrew at Yay Games with Tony Bourdale's involvement and Brett Gilbert. It's a family-based sort of focus game. It's the Gruffalo, for crike's sake. It's not going to have too much sweariness. Boydale, I'm sure, has pushed the limits to what you could get in there. But yes, if you've got children, you will have probably be sick to death of the Gruffalo books. You've probably read them ad infinitum. I know I have. But yes, this was really nice, cutesy family game. It contains 4 little mini games in there using the same components different ways. But it was interesting. It was obviously aimed at a younger audience. However, there was just enough little bit of meat on some of the bones of those games to keep us entertained. We played all of the games, and at no point was I like, oh, this is awful child drudge. All of them were involving, interesting. They had stuff to do. You were making decisions, and they were fun. So that's one with the little man joining the family and stuff like that. The Gruffalo obviously being a firm favourite, I'm sure. There's one I definitely intend to go back and revisit and play with him. But yes, if you've got little ones in the family and they like a bit of the Gruffalo, what can I say? It's tailor-made for you, gaming family, especially as an entry point for those young'uns. Get them in there, get them playing. Really enjoyed the Gruffalo. I think it's coming out October time is the launch of it. But yes, we're keeping an eye on that. Very cool. Yay for yay. Haha. Destinies from Lucky Duck. Didn't actually sit and play this. Jason Frau was there demoing this. So we went past numerous times. They had a busy stand. There were people being demoed. It's on Kickstarter at the moment. Oh, I know it kind of looks like a bit of a Seventh Continent. With like maps with an app based on it, and you're kind of exploring. Jason said it was kind of Baldur's Gate, like the old video game, which kind of made me go, oh, I like a bit of Baldur's Gate. So somebody didn't play it, but it looked entertaining, looks interesting. It all really comes down to your opinions on that. Chronicles of Crime is the other game is using similar tech to that. Chronicles kind of left me a bit cold when I played that, if I'm honest with you. Just felt like I was just going for the motions, flashing cards at an app. This at least looks like there's a board game there, something with a bit more meat on it. But there's Destinies. It's on Kickstarter, I do believe, still at this present point in time, if you should wish to want to back it, which is lovely. What else do we have a look at? We bumped into, well, 3 Minutes to Freedom or Death. It was a card game. There's a couple of kids and dad, I believe, doing it. Essentially, the kids had designed the game. It was kind of a take-that-y play a card, has an effect, does something game. It was entertaining. We sat there, 4 of us played. I played against the kids. I actually won. Ha-ha! I killed the children, which is always entertaining. But they're going to Kickstarter, I think, in the next couple of weeks on it, if not even days, I think, at this point in time. The art and design, the graphic design, was by a name of a gentleman who I was told, I have subsequently forgotten, but essentially he was responsible for loads of BBC micro art, and some of it did look familiar. They're very sort of white cards, black illustrations and text on it. Play a card, something happens, you do something. The idea is to essentially murder everyone at the table, or at least impair them in such a way they eventually die. I think we didn't play the test this at all, stuff like that sort of thing. It's not doing anything groundbreaking or new. It was fun, it was entertaining. Yes, if you're looking for a filler or something at the end of the evenings, it was one of those type of games, but it was entertaining for what we did for it. But I give them a cry out, and it's designed by the young man who was demoing the game to us, and hats off to him. He's got that out there, he's done it. I'm sure he's had some involvement, but it was kind of cool. So there we go, have a look out for that. That was 3 Minutes to Freedom or Death. If I get a link for it, I'll put it up. Then we popped over to Alicant Games, which we've not really done much of there, so we had a look at what they had. There was Tunguru, which is their new launched game coming out Kickstarter, I think any day now, if not already on there, or it might be October, I don't know, but it's coming up. It's a worker placement game on islands in somewhere, but yeah, the art and design on the cards and that was very Disney-ish in the character design, and that looked kind of funky and cool. Gameplay wise, it's a worker placement with dice. Lots of stuff going on, lots of building an engine. We played about 3 or 4 rounds of it. Initially it was a bit like, oh, a lot going on. I will say it was entertaining. It looked interesting. Nothing blew me away, if I'm honest with you. It wasn't doing anything, in my opinion, that really kind of sucked me in and went, oh, I want to play that again. I was kind of left going, it's kind of cool, but it didn't feel like it stood head and shoulders above pretty much most of the other stuff that's going on at the moment. There's lots of this sort of stuff out there. It was doing some innovative stuff with tiles and things and lots going on. Just didn't rise to the occasion. However, there was one thing that did get me all blushing, bluster and excitement and standing upright in attention was their other game, is Tinder Blocks, which is still being pre-produced at the moment. It's not out. It's going to Kickstarter, I believe, at some point this year. And essentially, it's reverse Jenga with tweezers. So you've kind of got a campfire you're building, and it's tiny little cubes and little blocks. I'll put a picture up here in a minute. And you have a pair of tweezers, you pull a card, and the card will stipulate what box you've got to put down and where, and you just do that with the tweezers and rinse repeat until such a point in time you knock everything over. Very straightforward and all that. Fits in a tin, mint tin sort of type game, but as a portable, fun little dexterity game, very cool. Really enjoyed that. One of the things from the show actually that really grabbed my attention. Really enjoyed that. Simple, simplistic game, but really cool, really fun, really interesting. Nice little companions. I'm sure when it's polished up and they're still tweaking the cards and all that, but that one has some serious legs as a portable, fun little dexterity game. Really cool. That's definitely on the watch list as something to have a look at. I believe we might be getting a preview copy of that at some point. We shall see. Then Firefly. So yes, well, we popped via Gale Force 9, and they have festooned us with some. We were talking about Firefly because we love a bit of Firefly here. So we've got a review copy of Firefly Adventures with its couple of expansions. That's kind of like a dungeon crawl for Firefly. We love the board game Firefly. Love Firefly. So yes, it's an older game. It's not current, but it's out. It's still available, and we're going to have a look at that and have a play of that and give you a review on our thoughts and opinions on that. Obviously, the main draw was they've got Dune, the reprint of the 80s classic Dune, and was recent. Well, I say recently, probably in the last 8 years or so, was republished by FFG as Rix due to licensing issues with some tweaks. However, this is Dune as we love and know it. And it's pretty much the version that you would have picked up in the 80s, but just with a polish and a graphic design and a bit of a tidy up. But essentially, it is that game. Now, where you come down on that is all depending. I have very fond memories of playing Dune as a youngling. Played a lot of that. Vicious game, but the designers of Cosmic Encounters, lots of I can't say the word. Asymmetrical powers. That was the word I was looking for. What a nub. So yeah, asymmetrical powers, asymmetry. I'm going to say the word 3 more times because I've now worked out how to pronounce a word. Brilliant. I'm just there. So yes, you're fighting against it. What the idea is, each race essentially breaks a rule in the game or has a command over a mode on it, and it's all about area control, territory control, grabbing resources and backstabbing and doing horrible stuff to you. It really plays at its finest at 6 players, which is the player count on it. It can be played with less, but really to shine, Dune needs everyone sat there, everyone doing their thing. So it looks really cool. That's coming out, I believe, in the next couple of weeks. I think it's pretty much going to be hitting retail. Bit of a Marmite game, I suppose, for point, but anyone who's a Grail game, anyone who's wanted it, I've desperately wanted to own it again, because it was a friend's copy I used to play, and that's sadly been lost to time and space and spice. Haha. So I've got a copy going. I've got Rex. We'll do a comparison piece, I think, eventually, maybe when we get them both together. They also utterance of an expansion for that. I think there was a version that was worked out, was never released properly, but there was tweaks on it. I think they've got that and they're tweaking that at the moment, and refining that, so that is down the road coming. And I believe because the Dune movie is on the way, there will be further Dune games from Gale Force 9 which tie into the new movie coming out, I think, next year or the year after. So anyway, very cool. Dune. They also had some other bits and pieces there. We looked at the D&D stuff, and obviously there was Star Trek Encounters? No, Star Trek stuff. Anyway, there was more Gale Force stuff there. What was very interesting was I managed to get a chat. We had to talk about the Aliens game, which was due for Essen originally. Essentially due some licensing wibbles since Disney bought Fox. There was a whole rethink of their licensing. It's still coming. There's no issues there. But what is positive coming out of it is they've gone back and kind of refined some stuff that wasn't maybe quite there for the original launch, or just tweaked stuff or polished a bit more. Gareth, the guy from GF9 I was speaking to, was very passionate about it. Obviously an Aliens fan. I got excited about it because I'm an Aliens fan. Sounds very cool, especially they've got a Newt miniature coming with the little helmet on and all that. It sounds cool. I was always a huge fan of the Leading Edge board game, which was a very good sort of board game version of Aliens. The best probably I'd encountered so far. So I'd be really interested. It sounds fun. It sounds fun. We love a bit of Aliens. So we're looking forward to how or what that's going to bring to us. Now probably next year is looking like Aliens is coming. But yes, Aliens, very cool. That, I think, was most of the stuff we looked at. There was a bunch of other stuff there. I did see the Lovely Bears, which actually, to be fair, her stand was very busy most of the day. So we were going to swing back around and have a go at Kitty Cataclysm and Whipple and some other bits and pieces. Didn't get a chance, purely because lots of people on the stand, which is a good sign. So yeah, so that was the day. That was what we did. That's what we looked at. That was all kind of interesting. Thoughts and feelings, summing up, we did a bit at the start. It was interesting show. It definitely has legs, potential for more. They have already announced that they are doing another show next year at the same place, which is 26th, 27th. The vicious rumour has always been that there was going to be 3 shows. Whether there'll be one after that, we don't know. It's definitely grown in regards to footfall, I believe, from the first year, so that's a positive spin. I just feel that they need to do a little bit more push in the wider context outside of the magazine crowd, because I still think there's a big vast swathe of gamers, but you think of the expo crowds wherever the moment that aren't attending, which is essentially one of the bigger self-based shows. So we shall see. Yeah, we shall see. Essentially, it was interesting. I enjoyed it because it was just a chance to go to a board game convention. Who doesn't want to go around those? And it was good fun to catch up with some peeps. Don't usually see outside of probably Expo. That was kind of cool. And just generally, as I say, who doesn't want to be at a board game show? I'd be interested to see what they do next year, what the plans are. But if you've not been and you're kind of this south of the border, then it's definitely something that should be on your radar to have a look at. I can't knock it. It was quite entertaining. Obviously, we only did the one day, so maybe next year we'll see what's going on. Potentially, we might go for 2 days. However, at the moment, I'm not entirely sure if it's anything like it was today, that there's more than a day's worth of convention to be seen there. But yes, keep an eye on that. That was the Tabletop Gaming Live review, I guess. So that's us for this episode of Who Dares Rolls TV. Coming up, hopefully soon, will be a bunch of reviews. As I say, the stuff we announced in last week's thing, obviously Firefly, we'll look at Jaws at some point. Tony bought a pile of games. I also looked at Tapestry the other day, had one game of Tapestry. Very enjoyed. To be honest, well, now I'll go on the record, it's actually the first Stonemaier game that I really enjoyed. I'm not a huge Stonemaier fan. I find them a bit style over substance, but Tapestry, whilst it is still quite a lot of bling on that board and could potentially have been cheaper, I was enjoying what it was doing. It's an engine building game. We'll go into that more maybe soon on the podcast episode. It was one of those I was left going, I want to play that again, and it looks like it's got a lot of replayability in there. So I know there's been a lot of sort of negative mixed reviews on that. I'll come down here as someone who's not a huge Stonemaier fanboy. In fact, not a huge fan of Scythe, Viticulture, or any of his stuff really. Euphoria is probably the one up to now that's the one game that I've kind of enjoyed. So yeah, this really stood out to me, really enjoyed it, and it's the first one I'm almost on the fence of that I may even potentially pick it up. I'll get a couple more games in. So there you go. So there's that coming as well. And that, I think, brings us to a resounding halt on this episode. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back hopefully next week with some more nonsense, and look forward to the reviews and some other stuff. Yay! If you're going to be at Dragon Meet this year, we will be there. Until then, and adieu and farewell to you fine Spanish ladies. Goodbye!